So far, we've got one image strip in the video sequence editor, but that would be a very short planetarium program. We need to be able to add others and change their locations along the timeline. Importing another image strip uses the same method we used before. Place the mouse pointer over the sequencer tracks and press Shift-A, just as we did when we imported the first set of frames. For this example, let's go to the Jupiter directory again, and this time we'll pick Jupiter Depart. Select all the frames by pressing A on your keyboard, then import the frames by pressing Enter. You'll see that the new image strip is in the track above the first image strip and appears in the preview window. In order to use the two tracks, we'll have to move one of them to a later point in the timeline. We're going to move the Jupiter departure track. There are a few ways to do this. Right-click on it to make sure it's selected. Let's move it 15 seconds later. That's 450 frames to the right. The first way we'll do this is to use the G key. Think of G as a shortcut for Go, because it's the Blender keyboard shortcut for moving things around. Because we only want to move the strip to the right or left for now, we would then press X because we want to constrain the motion to the right and left. So we type in 450 to move it. So the entire key sequence would be G, X, 450, and Enter to lock it in. You'll see that the first frame for the image strip is now at 451. Press Ctrl-Z to undo that move, so we can use the next method for moving the image strip. Again, make sure that the strip we want to move is selected. Enter 451 in the current frame box. The current frame indicator will now be at 451. With the mouse pointer over the sequencer tracks, press Shift-S, and the image strip will snap to that point. Again, press Ctrl-Z to undo this, so we can look at the third method for placing image strips. On your keyboard, press N. This opens the Properties tab on the right. It allows you to enter numerical values, which may help you remember the N key for opening it. At the top of this tab, you'll see how you can edit the image strip. For the Jupiter departure strip, you'll see the name of the first frame of the strip, the channel it's using in the video sequence editor, the start frame, and the number of frames. For now, we're only going to change the start frame. Click in this box and enter 451, then press Enter to lock in the change. If you move along the timeline around 451, you'll see the sudden transition from the Io flyover to the Jupiter departure frames. That's a jump cut. You'll also notice that the strip in the higher numbered channel will be the one that appears in the preview window. This is very important when editing your video, because you'll want to make sure that the proper frames appear when you want them. If the Io flyover track was higher, that's the one that would show in the preview window. We'll add one more image strip to come in at 30 seconds. For this, move the current frame to 901. Press Shift-A to add another image strip. This time, we'll go into the Saturn directory and add all the frames from the Saturn approach sequence. You'll notice that the image strip was inserted right at the 901st frame. It's also in the first track. In order to move it above the Io flyover track, either enter G, Y, 2 on your keyboard, or enter 3 in the track number box in the Properties tab. When you feel comfortable doing that, move on to the next lesson where we'll see how to do a crossfade.